guys, welcome to the channel for my Premier League predictions game week 32. Getting to the latter stage of the season and we are in game week 32. Each team is trying their possible best to finish hard or get a better position on the league table, getting to the latter stage. And as you already know, Southampton has already been relegated to the championship. Well, going into this game week 32, I'm looking out for spot-on predictions. In game week 31, I had one game spot-on predicted, which was between Tottenham Hotspur's game, and I got it spot-on predicted. Going into this game week 32, I'm looking forward for more spot-on predictions. My name is Andy Final. My like target for this video is just 50 likes. Like, comment your thoughts and your predictions at the comment section. Without wasting much of your time, let's get into the game week 32 predictions. Oh yes, starting off in game week 32 at the Etihad Stadium is between Manchester City versus Crystal Palace. At the moment, as it stands, Premier League will get 5 teams next year in the UEFA Champions League. And looking at Manchester City at the moment, they currently sit on the Premier League table and getting to the latter stage of this season. They are forcing their possible best to at least be part of the top 5 teams that will qualify for Champions League next season. And going into this game against a Crystal Palace side who also in their last 5 games in all competition are unbeaten. This tells you that Crystal Palace at the moment they are on form and they are performing. So going into this game at the Etihad, I know in game week 31, Manchester City and Manchester United drew 0-0 at the Old Trafford Stadium. And going into this game at the Etihad against Crystal Palace, a tough team who always Manchester City even struggle against them. So going into this game, I'm predicting this game to end in a 1-1 draw. My prediction is Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace 1. Moving on to the American Express Stadium, the Amex Stadium is between Brighton versus Leicester City. It's obvious, Leicester City at the moment, they are struggling at the bottom 19, struggling to escape the relegation threat. But at this point, they are winless in their last 10 games in all competition. This is very bad and this is a very terrible form that Leicester is riding on. Their last game in game week 31 against Newcastle United at even King Power Stadium, Leicester City couldn't even score a goal. And I think they've not scored a goal even in their last 5 games at the King Power. So going into this game at the American Express Stadium against a Brighton side who is also on form this season, they are really performing. I think this game is going to end in favor of Brighton. Going to this game, I'm predicting Brighton to get a 3-0 victory over Leicester City. Brighton 3, Leicester City 0. Oh yes, moving on to the next game at the City Ground is between Nottingham Forest versus Everton. To be frank with you, this season, if you ask me, one team that has surprised me or has impressed me most is Nottingham Forest. Nobody predicted that Nottingham Forest would be among the top 3 at the end of the season. But to be frank with you, I'm shocked, I'm impressed, I'm amazed, I'm amused. I mean, I don't even know how to express the kind of football that Nottingham Forest played this season. Bros, going into this game against Everton, who are also masters in drawing. This season, Everton have drew more than any other team in the Premier League. Going to this game at the City Ground in game week 32 against Nottingham Forest, a team who is aiming to qualify among the top 3. They are not struggling for even Europa spot. They are qualifying for Champions League spot. And at the moment, it's only some few points between Nottingham Forest, who is 3rd, and Arsenal, who is 2nd. So going to this game against Everton, I'm predicting this game to end in favor of Nottingham Forest. I'm predicting Nottingham Forest to get a 2-1 victory over Everton. Nottingham Forest 2, Everton 1. Moving on to the next game at the St. Mary's Stadium is between Southampton versus Aston Villa. already relegated Southampton going into this game in game week 32 against Aston Villa is going to be a very good game to watch. As usual, you already know Southampton as it stands 10 points out of 31 games is not good enough to sustain them in the Premier League for the next season. So Southampton, in their last game that they lost against Tottenham Hotspur, they got relegated. So next season, Southampton will be back in the Championship. And in this game against Aston Villa, who has also been in a very good form, even though in their last game in the UEFA Champions League, they lost against PSG. But I think going into this game against Southampton will not be a game that they will even struggle against. Even though they may decide to rest players ahead of their next encounter against PSG. So going into this game, Southampton versus Aston Villa, I'm predicting this game to end in a 1-1 draw. Southampton 1, Aston Villa 1. Moving on to the next game in game week 32 at the Emirates Stadium is between Arsenal versus Brentford. Arsenal going to this game, they are going with a lot of confidence. In their last game in the UEFA Champions League against Real Madrid, Arsenal were able to beat Real Madrid by 3-0, which was unpredictable. But well, to be frank with you, I made a video prior to that game and I posted it on my TikTok. If Real Madrid could match Arsenal in that game, the only solution was find a way that they are going to stop Arsenal from using set pieces. And see, after seeing this lineup between Arsenal and Real Madrid, this is going to be an interesting game. To be frank with you, this Real Madrid lineup was quite expected. But talking about this Arsenal lineup, well, with Mikel Merino playing as a number 9, as a false 9, this means they are going with one strategy, set pieces, and him arriving in the box unexpected, because we know he's not a typical striker and he's not going to be a standing 9. So the strategy is just one. And going into this game, Real Madrid should be aware of set pieces because that's what Arsenal are good with. This is their only weapon. And if they can stop this, I think the game is going to go in favor of Real Madrid. But well, it is what it is. You all know what happened. Arsenal got two beautiful free kicks from Declan Rice. He scored against Real Madrid, and Merino also scored one beautiful goal, making it 3-0 against Real Madrid. So Arsenal going to this game at the weekend against Brentford in the Premier League. To me, I think Arsenal are going to rest players ahead of their game against Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League, because looking at how the Premier League table at the moment, I'm not sure even Arsenal win all their games, they are going to catch up with Liverpool. So I think the best way Arsenal is going to do is that they are going to bench players or even rest players, their key players, play them in the UEFA Champions League game against Real Madrid. So Arsenal going to this game against Brentford, who is also a stubborn side. In game week 31, also got a 0-0 draw against Chelsea. I think this is going to be another game of draw. Arsenal could win, but well, going into this game, I'm predicting this game to also end in a draw. I'm predicting Arsenal 1, Brentford 1. Yes, moving on to the next game in game week 32 at the Stamford Bridge is between Chelsea versus Ipswich Town. At the moment, Ipswich Town are fighting for the survival at the bottom 18th on the Premier League table with just 20 points out of 31 games in the Premier League. They are fighting hard. Going into this game, I think it's going to be very tough because Chelsea at the moment, they are also pushing hard to be among the top 5 who are going to qualify for Champions League football next season. So Chelsea going into this game, even though in the last game in the Premier League against Brentford ended in a 0-0 draw, I don't think this game at the Stamford Bridge, Chelsea is going to make loose and even drop a point in this game against Ipswich Town. Despite their first encounter at the Portman Road, Ipswich Town were able to beat Chelsea by 2-0. So Chelsea going into this game, I don't think the same thing is going to happen. Even though Chelsea may not be on the good form, but well, going into this game, I'm predicting Chelsea to get a 3-1 victory over Ipswich Town. Chelsea 3, Ipswich Town 1. Yes, moving on to the next game at Anfield is between Liverpool versus West Ham United. At the moment, it's obvious Liverpool are the runaway league leaders. They are winning the Premier League this season, even though they lost in their last game in the Premier League against Fulham by 3 goals to 2. And West Ham too, so far this season, they are struggling at mid-table and they are struggling to get points. If West Ham lose their remaining games in the Premier League, there is no way they are going to get relegated. So going into this game against Liverpool, I think Liverpool will rather win this game and extend their gap. Liverpool are going to try their possible best to earn all the 3 maximum points against West Ham in this game at Anfield. Going into this game, my prediction for this game, I'm predicting Liverpool to get a 4-1 victory over West Ham United. Liverpool 4, West Ham United 1. I'm tipping Mohamed Salah to get brace in this game against West Ham United. Moving on to the next game is between Wolves versus Tottenham Hotspur. At the moment, Wolves is one of the teams also struggling at the bottom for survival. The points gap between Wolves and Ipswich Town is almost 9 points gap, and it will be very difficult for them if Wolves decide to lose the remaining games and they get relegated. So Wolves going to this game against Tottenham Hotspur, who this season they have performed below their average. Tottenham struggling at mid-table is something that nobody predicted, but well, that is what is going on at the moment. They are struggling and they are struggling to win games. So well, Wolves going into this game, I'm predicting this game to end in favor of Tottenham Hotspur. I'm predicting Tottenham Hotspur to get a 2-1 victory over Wolves. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Wolves 1. Oh yes, moving on to the game of the week in Premier League, game week 32 is between Newcastle United versus Manchester United. This game coming on at the St. James Park is going to be one of the most interesting games to watch. Newcastle at the moment, they are pushing to get a Champions League spot, and Manchester United is also struggling very hard to also get into the top 10. There's no way United is even going to make it for even Conference League spot at the end of the season. So United going to this game at the St. James Park, they are praying and trying their possible best not to disgrace themselves, but there's no way Manchester United is going to win Newcastle United at the St. James Park. At this point that Newcastle United really need points to also qualify for Champions League football, rather for the top 5. Right now, it's between Aston Villa, Newcastle United, Chelsea, and Manchester City. These teams are the teams struggling to join Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, and Liverpool. So right now, it's 2 spots left, and well, the battle for it. I'm not sure Newcastle United are going to lose this game against Manchester United. So my prediction for this game, I'm tipping this game to end in a draw. I'm predicting a 2-2 draw. Newcastle United 2, Bruno Fernandes Manchester United 2. I'm tipping Bruno Fernandes to score a penalty in this game against Newcastle United. Yes, moving on to the last game at the Vitality Stadium is between AFC Bournemouth versus Fulham. In game week 31, Fulham managed to get a 3-2 victory over Liverpool, who are the league leaders, and Bournemouth also lost their game in game week 31. Going into this game in game week 32 is going to be an interesting game at the Vitality Stadium. Looking at both teams are safe on the Premier League table. There's nothing like relegation struggle or something. But well, both teams are pushing to also get either Europa spot or even Conference League spot. So this is a crucial game. AFC Bournemouth, who is now 10th on the Premier League table, this game is going to end in a crucial draw. I'm tipping this game to end in a draw. My prediction is a 2-2 draw. AFC Bournemouth 2, Fulham 2. Yeah, so these are my predictions for Premier League game week 32. My name is Andy Final. My like target for this video is just 50 likes. Like, comment your thoughts and your predictions at the comment section. Till we meet in another video. Bye bye for now.